Dr. Woods talked to me about what I wanted to do when I graduated from college. And I told him that, well, I guess I'm going to teach because there's nothing else for me to do. But he told me, he said, well, why don't you consider grad school? And I said, no, I'll think about it, sure. I said, but I'm not sure my parents can afford it. So he enabled me to get an offer of a assistantship at Wayne State University, University of Arizona, and University of Alberta. So I had a choice of those three schools where they would pay me a small stipend to go to school, and that stipend will enable me to go to school for free. So I chose Wayne State University in Detroit as my graduate school, and the reason for that, I had an aunt and an uncle living in Detroit at the time, and a lot of cousins up there. So I said, well, I'll go to Detroit, but that's where Wayne is. I didn't know anybody in Arizona, and I didn't know anybody in Alberta, Canada, so I decided I'd go to Wayne. Contrary to what we had at Texas Southern, where we had relatively small classes and you could have some interaction with the professor, at Wayne State, the freshman and sophomore classes were taught in big auditoriums with hundreds of students. So the teacher's assistants, which I was, would then have small meetings with small groups of students. That was how I earned my salary, and that enabled me also to get free tuition while there. My third year, I got a fellowship, so I didn't have to work my last year. One of the first impressions that I had was that the academic work, to me, was easy because the academic structure at Texas Southern was so difficult that when I got to Wayne, we had no trouble working there. And in fact, a lot of my friends who went to school there, I have another friend who actually got his MD at Wayne State as well. He's my fraternity brother as well. And he said the same thing, that he had no trouble in med school after going through Texas Southern. So my impression is Wayne State is an outstanding school. I had no problems at Wayne State as an African American. Everyone was welcoming to me. I socialized a lot with the fraternity chapter there in Detroit, both the undergrad and graduate chapters. So the social side was taken care of and the academic side was fine. The professors were very nice to me. I think the fact that I was able to get an assistantship, the civil rights movement probably had something to do with that. So I would say I did benefit from being an African American student at the time, but I got no special treatment at school. I mean, I was in the class with everybody else, and I competed against everyone else there. The first few days of being in a classroom, being the only African American in the class, was a strange feeling. It took a while, but I finally got over that. That was something that you just have to deal with and get through it. I started at Wayne to get my master's degree, and then about a year into my master's degree, Dr. Schenck came to me and asked me, he said, you know, we have a program here where you don't have to get a master's in order to get a PhD, so why don't you just move over to the PhD program, which I did. I did analytical research working on novel ways to measure and identify chemicals using sulfuric acid as a solvent, which is very corrosive, so my lab coat had holes all in it because it burns right through you. But yeah, that was what my professor was focused on, was how to measure various chemicals in various media, whether it's, you don't use the normal medias of water or alcohol or acetone or those kinds of things. He was doing novel studies to that. So it was just esoteric research. My dissertation was on how to measure boron products in sulfuric acid media.